In southern France, a once peaceful village suddenly lost its familiar rhythm of life. Amid the vast pine forests, roars echoed through the trees, branches snapped, and soil and rocks were overturned. Culprits were none other than wild boars, fighting to reclaim their territory. Not only were they destroying the villagers' crops, but they were also charging at anyone venturing into the woods. A sense of unease settled over every small home, making the usual tranquility of Provence feel fragile. We understood that the time to act had come. The hunt for wild boars to protect our homeland needed to begin immediately. We arrived at Jack's house at the break of dawn. Having prepared our gear the night before, we climbed into our old SUV, a faithful companion that had been with us for many years, and drove deep into the pine forest. Turning away from the forest edge, the team followed wet tracks and the rustling of fallen leaves. We predicted that the prey would move along the hillside, weaving through thickets toward the small valley below. After an hour of tracking and pinpointing possible paths, we discussed our plan and then concealed ourselves behind the bushes. As the group had anticipated, from a distance the shapes of wild boars appeared. They charged forward with relentless force. I took my position, aimed carefully, and squeezed the trigger. The decisive shot brought the animal down in an instant, restoring peace to the village and protecting its people from the attack of these fierce creatures. By midday, the sun was high overhead as we roamed through the forests where the wild boars had been spotted. With the help of our loyal hunting dogs, we were able to control the herd's movement, driving them toward the team's ambush positions. The dogs' barking echoed through the trees as the hounds pushed the targets into the open. The herd surged forward, charging straight at us. Nick held his position, and a perfectly aimed shot completed the flawless coordination. Despite our best efforts, the sheer power and numbers of the herd allowed us to take down only a few. This was not just an ordinary hunt, it was a team operation, where practice, strategy, technological support, and instinct converged to give us the upper hand against the wild boars. Moving deeper into the forest, we stopped to rest atop a small hill. I kept my eyes on the surroundings and suddenly spotted another wild boar wandering onto the trail. It had no idea that this path was already within our line of sight. This was the golden opportunity. Without hesitation, I held my breath and took the shot. Our mission was not just a hunt. We had to protect the crops and the villagers. I fired a few more rounds, and the remaining targets were soon neutralized, bringing this short but intense survival battle to an end. Did that shot make your heart skip a beat? Give me a like if you think it was cool. As the sun began to set, a few straggling wild boars came into the team's line of sight. Through the iron fence, my teammate Jack quickly aimed and took down one. Another approached, and now it was my turn. I took a deep breath, stayed calm, and waited for the perfect moment, then squeezed the trigger. In that instant, I realized that a hunter's skill is not just about strength or speed, but also about patience, reading every gesture of the animal, and seizing the opportunity with absolute precision. As dusk settled in, when everything seemed to have come to an end, I suddenly spotted the prey peeking from behind the dry tree trunks. I held my breath and pulled the trigger decisively, but this time, luck was on its side. The boar thrashed violently and disappeared into the dense forest. Even though I failed at the very last moment, looking back on the day, I still felt a sense of fulfillment. I sat and gazed at the SUV trunk, packed full of our results, tired yet exhilarated. These weren't just the spoils of the hunt, they were a testament to teamwork, patience, and each hunter's skill, all for the peace and safety of the villagers' lives. dense forests of southern Brazil lay bare nature's harshest face, wet, tangled, and fraught with hidden dangers. This is no mere adventure. It's the thin line between life and being swallowed whole. We, professional hunters, are here not for thrill, but to protect the lives of local people threatened by a fierce wild boar invasion. From the moment we set foot, we knew. This is a battle between human grit and the raw brutality of the wild. Are you ready to join the hunt? Let's dive in. At 5 a.m., our hunting vehicle cut through the thick, damp jungle where treacherous terrain erased every trace. Our trusted hunting dogs were unleashed, racing like arrows, guided by their primal instincts. Minutes later, their sharp barks echoed through the forest. The dogs had cornered the prey, locking it in place to give us time to close in. And then, that shadow couldn't escape. I lined up my shot, pulled the trigger. Nice! The beast dropped instantly.
Whenever you got it.
Pressed on into nearby zones, with our keen-nosed dogs once again trapping targets with no escape. The joy of victory was clear on every face. But we all knew this was just the opening chapter in a grueling hunt ahead. After a long trek, we paused, eyes scanning the surroundings. In the distance, familiar shapes appeared. Using strategic noise, I lured them closer. At the perfect range, I opened fire. Rapid, precise shots sealed the fate of these wild beasts. After minutes of pursuit and blocking escape routes, the chase ended completely. In that moment, all tension melted away, replaced by pride, a hard-won victory against the savage wild. Not resting on our laurels, we ventured deeper into the forest, where trees grew thick like a tangled web. Before long, our dogs picked up the scent. Their frantic barking sent me sprinting forward. There, a huge figure struggling to flee. I pulled the trigger decisively, ending the ferocious life. Hesitation could have meant serious damage. This hunt is more than sport. It's protection. After the loud commotion, the wild boars scattered into the dense forest, leaving behind a heavy silence. The hunt entered its most intense phase. Yet, with sharp instincts, our dogs quickly tracked down trails hidden in deep grooves and dark hollows. This allowed us to close in and finish the targets in crucial moments before the boars vanished completely. Seeing the situation shift, we immediately used tracking devices to locate narrow water channels, prime hiding spots for prey, and moved swiftly to intercept. Sure enough, there it was. I aimed straight for the head and fired. The gunshot rang out, clear and final. The chase ended. Experience and resolve forged the path to victory. Meanwhile, to the east of the forest, John's team moved into position at the first signal. As the target appeared behind thick foliage, precise shots were fired. After hours of relentless tracking, the mission concluded with results beyond expectations. Our effective teamwork not only brought victory, but restored peace of mind to the locals, a fitting end to the team's tireless efforts. In just one night, my uncle's once fertile fields were turned into rubble. The wild boars flooded in under the cover of darkness, tearing up the land and destroying months of hard work. The scent of the overturned earth, the deep imprints of their hooves, no longer marks, but a blatant challenge. Standing before the devastation, I couldn't remain silent. We entered this battle not just to protect the crops, but to preserve our faith, our meals, and the value of labor passed down through generations. At 5 a.m., my uncle and I set out toward the field invaded by these wild beasts. Armed with state-of-the-art weapons and supported by the hunting dogs, we moved deeper into the field. My eyes scanned the surroundings, quickly spotting several of them scattered across the area. I decided to advance from the edge of the field toward the center, dealing with them one by one. The figures of the boars, once hidden among the tall grass, were swiftly halted by the deadly accuracy of my shots. As we pressed on, the sounds of the hunting dogs grew louder, signaling that the massive wild boar was surrounded. Yet, it still thrashed, desperately seeking a way to escape. A perfect shot sealed its fate, and saving the field from further devastation. Without a moment's rest, the eastern side of the field signaled the appearance of a wild boar herd, seemingly retreating toward their den. My uncle and I quickly split into positions to block their escape route as efficiently as possible. I moved to a clear spot for an ambush. There they were, numerous and seemingly unaware of my presence. I focused on the largest boar in the group and took the shot. Perfect! The bullet struck its mark. But the rest of the herd, quick to react, sprinted uphill, seeking refuge. With years of experience hunting wild boars, my uncle quickly anticipated their movements and positioned himself to intercept from above. As soon as the target appeared, the sound of gunshots rang out sharply, decisively taking down the lone boar. But we hadn't expected them to be so cunning. Just as the battle was heating up, another herd suddenly charged from a different direction, catching us off guard. In the blink of an eye, they had closed in on the hillside, fast, relentless, and more dangerous than anything we'd faced before. With the full force mobilized, we moved to the position above the hillside, ready to begin an intense pursuit. After a few minutes of lying in ambush, the wild boars began to emerge, each one following the other across our sights. The first round of shots was fired. The lead boar was hit, but still tried to flee, pulling the rest of the herd forward. Unfortunately for them, this time, the situation was different. With the team in place, they couldn't escape the trap that had been carefully set. A series of gunshots rang out, marking our absolute dominance, and the effectiveness of the team in a pursuit that had been meticulously planned. We continued moving to the neighboring hillside for a thorough sweep. After the recent gunfire, the wild boars were in panic, retreating deep into the thick brush. The team quickly split up into designated areas, maintaining control and watching for even the smallest movements. Suddenly, the rustling sound grew louder, each moment bringing it closer. Tension mounted as all eyes focused through the scopes. The figure of the prey emerged clearly, and a rapid sequence of shots rang out, decisive and unyielding. Each bullet flew with precision, and several of the boars dropped on the spot. With the chase now over, the tension lifted, confirming that we had regained the upper hand. As nightfall approached, we packed up our gear and headed back, feeling a sense of fulfillment. Just as it seemed the hunt had ended, fate had other plans. A large, solitary beast suddenly appeared, charging toward us. Without giving it a chance to escape, a clean, decisive shot rang out. The hunt concluded with satisfaction, not just because of the spoils, but also for the clarity, persistence, and skill to hold steady until the very last moment.
Wild boars carry razor-sharp tusks and possess enough strength to topple anything in their path. They're not only a threat to those who venture into the forests, but also a nightmare for every harvest season in Queensland, Australia, turning the hard work of farmers into nothing but dust. Join us as we embark on this journey, where you will witness heart-pounding moments firsthand today. At the break of dawn, after a strategic discussion, we made our way into the sugarcane fields, fully aware that the cunning wild boars would be hiding, waiting for the perfect moment to charge out unexpectedly. The atmosphere suddenly quieted on the red dirt road, setting the stage for the dramatic battle that was about to unfold. With a firm grip on my rifle, my eyes locked onto the patch of dry grass, knowing that it would be the doorway they'd use to make their appearance. as soon as they revealed themselves, my finger instinctively squeezed the trigger without hesitation, sending a few shadows straight to the ground, giving them no time to react. A quick, decisive shot. What do you think of this lightning-fast move, my comrades? Not far from there, James was tracking the tracks left by the prey, advancing into the sugarcane fields on this side. The thick, overgrown terrain was the perfect hideout for wild boars to ambush. The moment he spotted a shadowy figure up ahead, he seized the opportunity and fired. Despite his quick reaction, the boars were as swift as lightning, managing to escape deep into the fields. Moves like these are sometimes just a warning shot to protect oneself, but it's still a shame to miss such an opportunity. The sun was at its peak, turning the sugarcane field into a stifling blaze. Using the relentless barking of the dogs ahead as my compass, I used the butt of my rifle to clear a narrow path through the sea of trees. And there it was, the destructive wild boar. I responded to the dog's hard with a decisive shot. It's truly amazing to have such loyal and in-sync companions by your side. Although we had some successful moves on the field that morning, under the scorching sun and the wild boar's crafty evasions, we knew we needed to change our strategy to capture these destructive beasts. By taking control of the skies from a helicopter, every hiding spot they sought refuge would be exposed, and the wild boar hunt from above was officially on. Red alert from the skies. 3 wild boars were charging straight for the field. Thomas signaled the pilot to expertly lower the helicopter. The roar of the engine blended with the sharp crack of gunfire. Thomas's decisive shots pinned all 3 marauders to the ground before they could even reach the field. Mission accomplished. How many points do you give for this lightning-fast dog kill? Meanwhile, Kevin was facing off against 3 massive wild boars in the green meadow on his side. Not only were they strong, but they were incredibly agile as well. With them charging at full speed, hitting each one with precise shots will be nearly impossible for an amateur. To aim and fire while the target is sprinting like that isn't luck. It's the result of relentless training from marksmen. The afternoon sun stretched across the field, providing the perfect visibility, but also turning the pursuit into a brutal test of hunting skill. Each boar was a moving target, demanding split-second judgment. We pushed forward, locking our sights, and taking them down with cold, decisive shots. A few from the herd collapsed, and the results of today's hunt stood as proof of our efforts to protect the crops, safeguard the livelihood, and preserve the peace of this land.
Unlike many other places, wild boars in Sweden tend to show up at the most sensitive times of day, dusk and dawn. They travel in small groups, extremely alert and ready to turn aggressive if cornered. That's why every hunt here demands strict preparation, from scouting the terrain, positioning shooting spots, choosing the perfect moment to fire, to planning safe escape routes. That afternoon, we arrived at a southern Blekking field, with the last rays of sunlight still flickering. All gear was thoroughly checked, radios powered on, and each person quickly took their assigned position. The hunt officially began. 15 silent minutes passed before some uninvited guests quietly appeared in the field. The moment had come. Adjusting my scope just right, I squeezed the trigger instantly. The shot was true. The beast dropped on the spot. The rest sensed danger and scrambled away in haste. But every escape route had been pre-planned. A volley of shots rang out, sealing the fate of all. A clean, efficient takedown, showcasing the absolute dominance of those ready for any scenario. As the last sunlight faded, the wild boars began leaving their hiding spots. Knowing this pattern well, we swiftly moved toward the forest edge, ready to intercept the herd. Sure enough, a group was busy foraging nearby. As the target came into view, a sharp crack echoed. Despite its desperate dash, it couldn't get far. The rest fled in panic deeper into the woods, escaping our control. Undeterred, we pushed onward. Soon, another group burst onto the eastern corner of the field. No room for rush, we formed up, closing in carefully. After steady adjustments, the shot rang out, dropping the lead boar in an instant. The rest scattered, but every path was locked down. None escaped. Before we could celebrate, urgent signals came from the left. New targets appeared. Without hesitation, we moved in, eyes scanning swiftly for the best angle to strike. Once the prey was fully in the crosshairs, a decisive shot shattered the silence. Despite its speed, the beast only managed to fall at the forest's edge. Spotting fresh tracks by the forest edge, we planned a dawn raid. At 5 a.m. sharp, the team was in position. Every nook was covered, every approach controlled. Soon, the target entered the sights. A clean shot rang out. Precise, the result of countless hours of practice. Just when it seemed all was calm, a shadow lurked on our way back. Without hesitation, a gunshot cracked, firm and powerful, affirming the relentless spirit for the peace of this land. Hours of tense combat followed, with victory signals sounding repeatedly. Thanks to spot-on tracking and smart blockades, we took down each group of wild boars, closing a hunt defined by skill and effectiveness. Wild boars not only threaten our crops, but also pose a life-or-death challenge to us, the professional hunters. With their explosive reproductive rate, they devastate millions of acres each year, pushing nature to the brink of chaos. In this urgent situation, we're not just hunting wild boars, but protecting the ecological balance. If we don't act now, what will become of our environment? Stay tuned until the end to witness the fate of these savage beasts. At 5 a.m., we enter the territory taken over by the wild boars. Each member quickly splits up, calculating every step carefully. The hunting dogs, once released, immediately catch the scent and signal the presence of the prey. Upon receiving the signal, I rush forward. Oh, it's here! Too fast, it notices and tries to escape. But just as it makes its move, boom! A perfect shot halts its escape entirely. We can't afford to underestimate the cunning of these wild boars. 1 second of carelessness can lead to unimaginable consequences. We continue our search, tracking new targets. After a short distance, figures lurking in the fields are visible and cannot escape our sight. I adjust my focus, aim carefully, and squeeze the trigger. The shot rings out as expected, sending the boars into a panic. But it's too late. After a series of precise shots, all that's left are their bodies lying on the ground. Moments later, more dark shapes appear, unaware of the battle that just took place. Once again, our sharp shooting skills are put to the test. With each precise shot, honed through countless fierce battles, we don't give them a chance to escape. From another angle, an alarm sounds. It seems the boars are trying to flee after the recent commotion. John immediately gets the order, quickly moving to block their escape route. The boar, unaware of John's approach, becomes an easy target. With swift and decisive action, John lines up the shot. Perfect! The bullet strikes true. Other boars nearby don't escape the perfect control John exerts. The area is quickly secured. As the battle grows fiercer, new targets appear. With years of experience and a deep understanding of wild boar behavior, we are fully prepared. The timing and positions have been carefully calculated, awaiting the right moment to strike. Before long, this area is cleared, leaving no trace of the marauding beasts. Not a second to spare, we move toward the edge of the field where the wild boars are likely hiding. Sure enough, they emerge. I line up my shot, the bullet instantly speeding towards its target. Nice! The feeling of victory floods in. It's almost unbelievable how perfectly the shot landed. Despite knowing how slippery these creatures can be, even the most decisive moves can't always stop their speed and agility. A few of them manage to dart into the dense forest nearby, narrowly escaping the chase. The hunt continues, and we deploy all available resources and advanced gear to launch a new strategy. Every position is meticulously calculated based on the boar's known hiding habits. Soon, the targets begin to appear. The rifles are ready, no room for error. A shot rings out, and the boar drops instantly. Simultaneously, from all sides, gunfire erupts, marking our absolute dominance. A flawless battle, everything under control, every step calculated perfectly.